All right, welcome back. We're jumping back onto Samoa. Volcano is the round. We got the ping spike sorted, got the players reconnected and back in the map. Yippee! All right, China rocking the Symmetra. No Tracer here for Sakura and Hattori on the Mauga. Quick rush, actually, for Sakura Esports. Not going to the high ground, as Checkmate now is going to hopefully feast for Qadsiah on the flank.
I mean, look at how fast
Hattori
is just absolutely getting bursted.
Yeah, pretty easy target as well for Lab to get the railgun shots. So, yeah, Hattori's going to have to be super careful. And the thing is with this Torb comp as well, you can't get flanked. You have to punish the Torb if he's going to sit on a weird off angle because he pops his turret down, then there's two things shooting at you, and it just becomes such a pain in the side.
Well, we're going to see Hattori stay on the Mauga, but this time around, China's going to give up the Sim and go over to the Pharah. So Pharah does have that nice long-range access where you can get those direct rockets to deal with something like the turret pretty easily. But you also need to still be careful because that turret can mark you from all the way across that map.
Nice to take out the turret, though, but yeah, it can be quite annoying if you're not paying attention to it. Lata narrowly escaping with just a shot onto Prota. Looks like Checkmate managed to follow that one up as Zora does trade. Although with Prota dead, you can't really push, so it's all on Sakura now just to try and gain as much space as humanly possible using that cardiac overdrive from Hattori and hopefully getting picks with a Pharah. But it's looking so difficult for Sakura. Every single time they peek, it's tough. The amount of spam damage and with no shield rows, it's a bit of a death sentence for Zora if he overstays.
Yeah, and it's a lot of that focus fire going towards Prota and Strupper, so if either one of them are down, then you do have to back up because you can't lose the support.
You know, early orbital rate as well, and because Prota has died a couple of times already, it's like you're not near that old at all. Little Ray on the sides, and then they just push in, and Sakura Esports forcibly reset.
There's only one more team fight for them to be able to make this work, though, as OWCS are approaching the 80% mark on this capture progress. Sound barrier for Haku, and then 3 other ultimates in the tank for them. You gotta go in with a sound barrier here. That does not feel good.
Yeah, early sound barrier, and here's the later one from Haku. Nice cage, but Hattori, you need about 70 more cardiac overdrives there to stay alive. And the annihilation, yeah, it's just OWCS running away with this. Stripper is on the point, actually a barrage. Sneaky from China as OWCS trying to transition to the point, ends up getting barraged. Zora does end up going fairly low, and in fact, Sakura Esports at the hands of China are sticking in this fight, managing to keep himself up. Stripper also staying up, and Hattori goes back with a hazard. What an unbelievable turnaround. China, man of the hour there.
Wow, that was a crazy clutch. I feel like Sakura ended up corralling everybody that they wanted to into the low ground, so Ziad got domed, and then the rest of the reinforcements of Sakura could come back and actually help take back control of the point. But I've wanted to see this like every single week. Hattori has such a strong hazard that I feel like that is something that this team should absolutely lean into. And when you see something like a Ramatra on the other side and it's not a Sig, it's not a Diva, this hazard feels even better. Think about all the sight lines you can block off with this wall too.
Should be a lot of damage from Prota if those pulsar torpedoes connect. Don't look like half of them did, but look at the amount of spam still from OWCS. They might get the point cap for free because Hattori has got no spike guard left. Half HP is Hattori, hid in the vortex. Wall comes up for a little bit more defense, but Checkmate, yeah, if Checkmate didn't finish off Hattori there, it would have been someone else. And Sakura Esports, on what was a very impressive fight with that Pharah ult, still end up losing the round.
I feel like it was just the chaos they were able to take advantage of. You know, the fire barrage on the side helped to corral everybody back onto the point, and there were like 8 of the ultimates thrown into the fight at that point too. But I hope that Sakura can maybe like just start out on the hazard. Ziad is a great Ramatra. We haven't really seen too much else from Ziad outside of like the proficiency on the Diva. It's like maybe no Sigma, so Hattori can feel a little bit more comfortable to play something like the hazard right away. As we go over to downtown, it looks like it is going to be a run back here for Qadsiah, and yes, it is going to be Hattori sticking to the hazard.
And Checkmate on top. Good old Trob gameplay. China rocking the Little dice there, the little fuzzy dice. Love to see that. We'll see how China can actually navigate this fight. As the Genji against the Torb is a little bit easier, but not when the pressure's like this. Yeah, you can't stick around too long as the Genji. Ideally, you know, you're kind of poking away, taking care of the turret maybe from a far range to make it easier for your front line to kind of move up and not take any excess damage. But what Qadsiah have been doing over and over again, Rose, has just been, well, one of you is trying to off angle, and with the ram, this is very easy. Run at them, hit the vortex, and you're dead. Like, and Haku's been kind of telegraphing that with the rest of the team, speeding everybody around. So I don't think we're going to see China try and take a very aggressive off angle again, or at least maybe, you know, hesitate to do so. A little bit safer play. Maybe.
I wish that I think Sakura also just needs to go
do
in
it again.
Full team.
They're doing it again.
Yeah, like Hattori's all the way on the other side of the map when this off angle is getting dove on.
Oh, checkmate. Yeah, not quite dead just yet. It's actually Hattori that falls first in that small engagement. And yeah, called out perfectly there, Rose. Hattori was on the opposite side of the map. And that wasn't the best example of like Torb versus Hazard comic book coming soon. That's not true, actually. I don't know if that's true, but maybe. But the Torb versus Hazard matchup, and one of the reasons why people were playing the Torb was, if the Hazard dives on you with a violent leap, you know, Mantis Blades come out, they start like kind of pounding you. The Torb can just hit E and run away. Extra speed, extra armor, extra overhead. You just run away and you're fine.
Yeah, but even Haku, you notice like the speed is so good there, but you also have the boop. Like Hattori goes in and tries to violently and gets booped away by Haku, so you actually can't connect that big part of your skill kit.
Well, Seattle end up getting caught here by the spikes coming from Hattori, but this orbital ray is just too good. Once again, Proto lagging behind about 20% or so versus Landon in this head-to-head.
And that's just a really tough deficit to come back from when all of these fights have been finished so quickly. Even if it's just one player, there has been very little room for Sakura to kind of just jump back in. And yeah, there's some fight here with the overclocks left, though.
Yeah, both tanks are actually coming up. They do manage to get back to the point in time, but look at that soundbite from Haku. Strebel once more behind in ult charge. It's Sakura Esports. They're not getting lapped in terms of ult charge, but they are devilishly, deviously behind. All right, Hattori down. OT coming up. A small capture there, of course, for Sakura. And there will be Strebel to touch. 95% of the sound barrier, so unlikely to get it unless the Cheerios are pretty accurate, depending on if he can line these things up. Touch comes through, but I think that was a little bit too early. Does end up falling. There's an extra touch from Hattori, but that's all over. Qadsiah 2-0 on control to start off the day.
Yeah, there were some bright moments there for Sakura Esports, but I think at the end of it, that was a dominant map #1 here for Qadsiah. And I think you called out something that was just like the perfect example of why every time an off angle was being looked for by Sakura, there was just a huge push from everybody on Qadsiah to run in that direction and take out that one member. And then all of a sudden, you now have a 5v4 and you're missing a critical source of your damage output.
Yeah, you lose your Genji, your DPS, or even we saw a couple of times there, like you lose your Lucio or like a support. Very cognizant of like how the Hazard comp wants to run. You want to off angle on like one character. I did, you know, the DPS 9 times out of 10, right? It's the Genji, your Tracer, or whatever. And then Genji kind of pokes from afar, waits for the Hazard to kind of jump in, then you jump in from a different angle and then destroy someone, right? You blow someone up, turn them to dust. And yeah, Qadsiah were just, okay, you want to overextend early. Well, not overextend, but in theory it is, but you want to like try and find an off angle early. Okay, that's fine. We're just going to run you down because your Hazard right now is not set up in a position where they can punish that kind of 90-degree turn and looking at somebody and killing them. We're not there yet. And yeah, it looks like a Sakura, while they are on the same page more often than not with their dives, especially when Hattori's playing someone like Ball, it's just how Qadsiah beating them to the punch. We'll see where they want to go though. Sakura's map choice up next.
I think that's a really great point as well. If you are against a team that kind of knows how you like to play and they've been able to study tape, then this is a very confident Qadsiah that's jumping the gun on a lot of these different team fights and just pushing you onto the back foot. And so when I take a look at this map pool, maybe Sakura would like to go next. If you want to maybe play something like the Wrecking Ball, do we consider Dorado? Do we consider maybe even like Eichenwald? Do you want to try your chances on something like Suravasa instead?
Well, a couple of times, at least recently, Rose, they've gone to a push map, but it's been a bit of a 50-50. They've gone to a Dorado, they've gone to a Blizzard World, like, as the second map in their series. But if you remember yesterday, it was a very short game versus Twisted Minds. They didn't cap anything, like goose eggs across the board. No caps on Lijiang Tower, no meters on Esperanca, no caps on Route 66 as well. So in theory, you're like, okay, let's not go to Esperanca, considering what happened yesterday, because I don't think you can even look at VODs. Okay, well, I was wrong. I was going to say, maybe you can't even look at VODs in this regard, because it's like, okay, we got kind of stomped by TM, who are looking very much like revitalized as a team. Let's go to like a Qadsiah, where maybe we can look a little bit further back over the last few weeks and study that. But Esperanza is the pick, so I was completely wrong, which is completely fine. And we'll see if they can get some meters here versus our Qadsiah. I can't imagine it's going to be as much of a shutout as it was yesterday, considering, like I mentioned, how good Twisted Minds have been looking, especially with Quartz back on the Sojourn.
That's true, but I think you have to take a look at Lambda on the Sojourn, and you might be seeing Quartz get a run for his money a little bit. I think similarly with Zaro, like the two of them being able to play the Sojourns together, I feel like Lambda was winning out those Sojourn 1v1s more often than what we saw Zaro be able to get the punch onto Lambda. So I don't actually know if if that's a good argument there, just from the Sojourn perspective, but maybe there's something in scrims that Sakura is very confident with that we haven't had a chance to see, that they still want to try to run this map back.
Well, they're going to ban Juno as well. So I mentioned a couple of times in that series and what was kind of pivotal points where Landon was just getting ult first. And normally you are, you're winning fights, so you're going to get more ult charge, you're doing more damage. Normally on the receiving end, you're doing more healing as a support, at least in the first couple of fights. But Landon was still just outpacing this Juno. So Sakura do end up banning that away. But I think Landon's kind of happy with that. Like, again, Landon can just play the BAP if he wants to. An extreme comfort hero for him. His best, I would say. But our Qadsiah are going to ban Sigma. So no slow comps here for Sakura. It's going to be the Ram. It's going to be even Hattori back on the Mauga. But you could even see the ball coming out from Hattori too. I think her ball, while if you look at the other match versus Twisted Minds yesterday, she did have a tough time. Like, it's very hard on some of those control maps where you are just getting permanently booped and like halted, and if you can kind of telegraph where the ball's coming from, not quite to the same level as Mag just yet, but that could be a different flavor that Sakura could bring out.
I agree. I think the Wrecking Ball has a lot of viability on Esperanca, so if that is something that Hattori maybe says, maybe we should try a dive, I could totally see the Wrecking Ball come out. But it is the pace of which that Wrecking Ball gets set up that has me worried. If the Hazard was having that much trouble being able to find those off angles, then what do we think about the actual setup for the ball plus some type of dive hero?
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. I think you really just hit the nail on the head. It's a bit more of a risky pick, playing that Wrecking Ball. Looks like Hattori might want to just take the 1v1 versus Ziad. Ziad, though, extremely good on the D.Va. D.Va is insane on this map, and it also leads to kind of banning the Sigma, too. D.Va, while it's easy to kind of run over the backline, Sigma provides an extra layer of support with the rock and with the shield to kind of help people. So Ziad picking up the D.Va is no real surprise at all. Checkmate back on the Torb. Hey, don't mind that. And landed on the Kiriko. But looks like Prota is going to go to the BAP instead.
Yeah, I actually kind of wondered, banning out the Sigma. Okay, the poke is not as easy to be able to come through, but if you could play the Sigma, then maybe Landon gets a chance to actually play the Baptiste. So the fact that Prota is on that and they have a little bit more of that static backline, maybe we'll see Landon switch to that a little bit later, but for now, I think the Kiriko with the Suzu, Landon's gotten really good at this hero, and having the Suzu to be able to save somebody that is maybe getting annihilated by a Ram does not feel too bad.
Oh, Ziad is going extremely low too, trying to take this high ground away from Sakura. Zoro, and it's actually a three-man like hit squad for Sakura right now, trying to take this high ground away from Ziad, but the whole time, with three people looking at somebody, they gotta die. They gotta get desuited or they gotta die. And it just left Labda, well, that's free for me. I can just shoot at people who are trying to chase our diva. More than okay.
Oh, and look at this pincer, too. I mean, Hattori's just kind of, like, smacked up against a wall right now, having to deal with the Sojourn as well as look at this turret placement here from Torb, really too. Like, that is so frustrating.
Oh, they do end up seeing the bot for a brief moment, but here comes the early rush. Protoss got this window at about 5%, but not nearly the same efficacy as a rush on a objective. 45 meters and counting now for Qadsiah, as Ziad still refusing to lose that mech, really making it kind of difficult for Sakura to focus someone down, because Ziad very good control of the defense matrix, not getting ejected from that mech early.
Yeah, I mean, that defense matrix still has like very good range, as well as just being able to last long enough that you're able to swiftly eat up any projectiles that are coming through. I mean, the charged railgun shots from Sorrow have not been able to land very well.
The 2v1 on the high ground, by the way. Zoro and Strebor tried to get high ground away from Checkmate, but Checkmate just took the 2v1. All right, Protoss going pretty low, forced to use the lab, and the window is unfortunately for Proto disappeared just like his health bar. Hattori is also getting kind of run at as the bot just continues to roll. Checkmate eventually dealt with. Torp down, but Hattori, not long for this world either.
Guys, Labda's just running away with this game right now. I feel like Labda has had free reign of the high ground, of just having so much space created by Ziad, that Labda's sat very comfortable and is such a sharpshooter. Like, this is a guy that doesn't miss. And you can see with the headshots, accuracy, and all of that, like, Labda's really earned these overclocks.
Speaking of which, that's one kill. Soundbarrier comes in. Haku 2. Okay, 2 beats on the floor. Labda going pretty low, though. Has to get back up to the high ground. Zoro now trying to take the fight into his own hands as Labda falls to a hefty right punch there. A right hook from Hattori. Zoro doesn't get too much extra apart from that turret as Ziad just takes the control of the high ground away from Zoro. Still the bot 105 meters in the bank already for Qadsiah, and they're not giving up any space despite losing Labda.
I mean, Ziad still hasn't been demeched yet, and even if he does, he has that bomb to be able to get back into mech. They're even committing rush here, Jack.
Yeah, I really like this rush. Zoro is on an off angle right now, but it's going to be difficult for Zoro to really move through. Slides back into a bit of a better position to help punish anybody. That's approaching Hattori, but it looked like Strebor was the one that got punished. Well, there's a TP from Protoss, straight on top of the Molten Core from Checkmate. A D-suit and a remake, or attempted one at least, from Ziad, but the bomb will eventually kill Protoss, and now Qadsiah just extend this lead.
I mean, they still have 3 members alive, and like they just killed China out of spawn. There actually might be enough time for them to be able to get Ziad back into this and have a 5v5.
Oh, Protoss dead again.
Yeah, like this is not looking very good here for Sakura.
Yeah, from bad to worse, unfortunately. No, just turrets aren't exactly lasting too long either. What's still moving? I mean, what can you do here if you're Sakura? You've got Annihilation. You can rip a rush here, I suppose, but someone does need to touch, and it doesn't look like it will be the Torb. And here comes Hattori. You're just touching the spawn door. Landed's on the spawn door, Suses himself, maybe even TP's back. Annihilation's available, but the sound barrier is going to come through from Haku. Strebor does end up dying. Hattori on the point, but the Annihilation eventually fades away. Not after she ends up getting a kill with it, of course, on Checkmate, as Ziad has been desuited, but still with a Buddy Blaster, it still is effective in the mech. And now Lab is just going to finish this one out with a full cap. Qadsiah, and kind of repeating the same success I feel like as Twisted Minds did yesterday. There's no meters on the board, sadly, there for Sakura.
I think everybody is so hopeful that like Sakura can get back into this, like get wins. I feel like we've been saying this now for a couple of matches, but I think at this point it is now time to turn attention to, is this a moment where we can look at for Qadsiah and say, this is how they break away from the middle of the pack, or this is how they start to differentiate themselves as one of the best of the middle of the pack right now? Because that was a discussion that we were having at the top of the day, and Qadsiah is one of those contenders.
It's just like blue collar Overwatch. Clock in, clock out. You've done your 9-5. Like, I think Sakura, if you look at the first couple of matches that they had, they took a map of Ultimates, and during that series, I think both of us were like, wow, this is a pretty insane feat. Like, the Ultimates were seen as one of the best teams in the EU coming into stage 1 of OWCS of 2025, and for Sakura, a team that scraped into the OWCS, taking a map of Ultimates is great. Then they had that really insane like dog fight versus Vision Esports that went to a map number 5. But as the weeks have gone on, they've not been able to live up to that same kind of success, and every other team has been leveling up individually and as a team, and they've just not found their footing as the weeks have gone on. They ended up facing Gen G and Virtus Pro. They didn't end up getting maps there, and then obviously Twisted Minds yesterday. And this was, I think, the real big potential turning point for them, where they could, maybe not win a series, but like still claim maps. But Qadsiah, they're just on lock. Like, it feels almost natural to them. They're taking a lot of these extended fights where, in theory, they shouldn't still be in these fights, but they are still just continuing to find picks or like just staying alive, and Sakura is just unable to find more and just finish out a clean team fight. It is really unfortunate, but Qadsiah for them, Rose, like you said, it's looking good.
I think you can look at how they're able to take these like 3v5s and still win the fight and just say that's a great feather in the cap here for Qadsiah. This is a team I think that people were excited to see get put together. Checkmate, of course,
sure, yeah,
as one of the superstars from the Overwatch League, now being able to help put together a roster that features Landon, one of the best supports in EMEA, and it's very clear how much work that he's actually put in behind the scenes to not just be a Baptiste player, but can play the Kiriko, can play the Juno, and actually be so much more flexible that he isn't a great target for these hero bans anymore. And I think it's clear that the team is all as a whole put in a lot of work. And what standouts here for, I think, Ziad and Haku, they're having great seasons for OWCS so far, and it's great to be able to see this team together in action.
Yeah, it has been really nice to see them kind of level up, but the dark cloud that's just going to continue to hang over their head is their upcoming matches, the Virtus Pro and the Ultimates match. Pulling away from the middle of the table seems pretty easy on the face of it, especially you starting off today with a little 3-0 maybe, right? But then you look at tomorrow, and then you look at next week. In one world, it's like, okay, well, great, Virtus Pro next week, the new patch drops, we can find something that's really broken and we can just abuse that and then get a win off of VP, who've looked unstoppable so far in EMEA. And overall, the competition has leveled up in this region, and it is a lot closer at the top and the middle of the pack. But Qadsiah, they still have their toughest challenges to come over the next couple of series. So getting this one out the way, focusing on the next ones is going to be what's important. Suravasa is going to be the map pick here for Sakura.
Okay, so maybe we do end up seeing another little, another tussle here with like a Ramacho or a Sigma. The Sig can't be banned on the Sakura side anymore. Yeah, the Sig can't be banned on the Sakura side anymore. Did that just happen?
Qadsiah banned the Sigma. Last map,
I guess
Juno.
Yeah, well.
So it will be hazard banned by Qadsiah, and then they're going to ban Checkmate's Torb. I mean, to be fair, yeah, I mean, Checkmate has been really annoying on the Torb, and he did win that 2v1, so, put respect on Checkmate's name. You got to put respect on his name always. Yeah, it was a Lucio versus a Soj.
No, but is it a 2v1 when you factor in the fact that you have a turret?
Turret? His turret was dead, I think. Maybe it was. Maybe it was a fair 2v2 with the turret. I'm not sure.
Because I think that would be considered a 2v2. If the turret is up, that's a 2v2.
Turret is there.
Yeah. Well, Torb is 2 people. He has to make up for the height somehow.
1 versus 4 billion pigeons for me. My daily life struggle. Wake up. Realize pigeons exist on this map.
Oh, wait. Oh my God, production actually shared a very impressive fact. And they didn't actually put it on the broadcast yesterday. But a legend claims that Saint Valentine used pigeons to help 2 young people fall in love, which is how the Italian term for lovebirds originated.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Damn, you think it'd be like a bird of paradise or something, but no, it's a pigeon. That is
pigeon. I thought it would be doves, yeah, or like
doves or something, yeah.
Something, yeah. No, pigeons.
Oh, it's pigeons, everybody. Apparently, them, yeah. Rats with wings, but make people fall in love. So there you go. Tracer for checkmate. Tracer for China too. Very much more of a comfort pick, and Sakura picking up that Sigma, which was banned away from them last map. So this is the point where you can make Ziad's life a little bit more hellish, and including checkmate too, to be fair, but not if Labda just does Labda things. Okay, well, there's a double kill, or maybe even a third. Yep, well, okay. Labda kills 3, and Qadsiah are going to win this fight. So Tori, fortunately, tail between her legs is going to run away.
Oh, it's tough when the rest of your team is just dead. Labda's just crushing right now.
5 kills, come on. Labda. There's the shot. All right, a little 5K for Labda to start the map off. Good stuff. Almost got that railgun too. 70% online. It has been. I want to kind of bounce off what you said earlier, Rose, actually, about Labda. Of course, when you're looking at last year, it was like, okay, big projectile player, likes to play Pharah, Echo, anything that's kind of projectile-y. And of course, the Symmetra as well. But playing Hitscan a lot more on stream and just in general has been a really big boon for Labda. And going into the next season, Qadsiah, I think, are perfectly positioned in terms of their DPS. So much flexibility from Checkmate and Labda. It's going to be a really big boon for them coming into next week.
I agree. Just knowing that they have such a stellar Sojourn player is going to help them a lot versus these big top teams that they have to deal with, where they also have a great Sojourn player.
Woo! Little 1v1 from Landon there. You love to see that. Overclock charged already, and that is one dead Lucio. Oh, not quite. Still 1 HP though. Haku ends up going down actually, so there was a dead Lucio, but on the other side of things. Checkmate clears 2, and Qadsiah, of course, still controlling the points. Labda's looking for his next target. Not quite the Tracer there. It's all checkmate this fight, apparently. Oh, that was nice. That was a bit cheeky from China. China just recalled into the self-destruct. Unlucky rubber ducky.
That is so unlucky. Oh man, like
everybody's done that before.
Yes, they have. But we've seen some divas do some pretty strange things as of the last 2 days, I think. But first flashpoint does go over to Qadsiah. They still have the rush that they can initiate this next fight with, which is going to be a great way to just kind of deal with something like the Matrix, or at least answer it. But look, it kind of almost forcing it out now.
Oh, Prota is getting bullied. Like, Qadsiah reported to the cyber police level stuff. All right, checkmate does end up going down, but yeah, this is fortunately a little bit of a, what they call in the biz, a differential from Qadsiah currently. Prota now switching over to Kiriko. I think this is a smart pick. Prota has been, like I said, picked on over the last couple of maps.
The Baptiste is just so a little bit too susceptible to being a headshot. Like, you have the immortality field for only so long, and then it's on such an enormous cooldown that I think the Kiriko is able to get in and out a little bit faster. The Suzu's really nice if you can help with something like the Tracer Pulse Bomb. Checkmate's been doing a great job of being able to throw those out pretty quickly, so that's something that you would love to have on the Kiriko side.
Zoro having to head on a swivel right now. 2 sound barriers come in. It's going to make his life a little bit easier. Good headshot for Labda though. Mid-slide too. Gets the railgun shot out to checkmate as well. Zoro with a disgusting little double kill there on the DPS of Qadsiah. Will they be able to see this fight through? Of course, checkmate with a parting gift, the martyrdom grenade there onto the Sojourn. Tori is still alive as well. And fighting this D-Mech, this might be a flip for Sakura, but Ziad is still alive somehow. The backline from Qadsiah with the turbo deadlift. Eventually, Ziad taken care of as the remech attempted to come through. Landon almost with the rush. Doesn't look like they're going to win this, though. Tori manages to lock the point down.
Okay, Kiriko based. Like, Prota switching over to that hero was such a big deal for Tori to stay in that fight. Plus, you had Strebber that was there to be able to actually push everyone back so that Tori could actually get a good grasp on the situation. Big turnaround here for Sakura Esports. I mean, they were able to deal with a couple of big ultimates here from Qadsiah. They still want to come, but they've got the grab hooks and they can start off with the rush.
Here comes the flux though. There's a lot of damage on the front line, but look at this, already taken care of his Zoro. And now Labda on the sidelines, dueling out with Strebor in the skies. Little flip coming through. Sakura Esports not out of this just yet, however. This point will go to Qadsiah, but still, signs of life, 71%. Not too bad whatsoever. Point 3 unlocks as the transition for Qadsiah can now begin. Very close are both teams, so it'll be a clash before they end up capping. And Hattori switching from Sigma after using the Flux to the Diva.
Yeah, now it's going to be just basically a mirror match, except the difference here being Tracer for Sakura, and we've got Genji here for Qadsiah. But Overclock is the big difference maker.
So they've managed to subvert the damage. Oh yeah, Labs are kind of spawning out Zoro there. Doesn't go for the shot, but Sakura now split. One person across the map, that being Zoro, and the rest of them near that point. So Zoro has to make his way back to the point somehow. Little bit of poke damage, but here comes the collapse. They're going to try and get Zoro out of this game right here, right now. But Strebor, no! Didn't spot Labs down on the low ground. Hattori is there with the backup, though, and it's actually a 2 for 2. Both Sojins and Lucio's going down. Well, sorry, both one support on each side. It was Landon that fell, but Haku with the clutch sound barrier ends up coming in, aiding with a kill onto Prota. Point hasn't been capped either. Hattori might be able to get this one, sneak it away, as the mech from Ziad is pretty low, but Haku and Landon now back on the case, healing Ziad up.
Oh, and they bullied away Sakura just in time for Checkmate to come back and actually have the Dragon Blade for when Sakura comes in for another engagement.
Oh, Dragon Blade though, yeah, Suzu already used. There's the sound barrier. Checkmate though, saving a dash, goes to the high ground. Slashes a couple of times at Proto as a self-destruct comes out. Hattori was in the sky. Easy setup shot there for Labda. Qadsiah with control. Can they get any punishment here? Any additional kills would be golden for them, but it doesn't look like Sakura are going to give in to him. Although saying that, Checkmate with just some neutral shurikens finishes off Proto.
That's still going to be enough of a delay here that Proto's gonna have to respawn, and then Sakura gets to come back into this one with 3 ults, but Qadsiah, they're the ones that have all this space right now. Oh! That's a huge pick though from China. Okay. That wasn't even a stick, I don't think.
No, it was, well, it stuck something, but it was the wall. They managed to get the Lucio out of the fights, and here comes the rush. Prota dead yet again, though, to Ziad. Can they land the final shot? Doesn't look like it, so a free remake here, and Hattori ends up going down. Unlike like for like there in Ziad, unable to get that remake. Nice little punch kill there. You can't matrix that, sadly, if you're Ziad. But China will end up going for the overtime push. But Rose thinks this is going to be a little 3-0 here for Qadsiah on Suravasa. No touches. Yeah, Qadsiah finish off the series 3-0. And yeah, sadly for Sakura once again, don't get a single point or objective in this series, but looking good for Qadsiah right now, Rose. Looking ahead at that Ultimates game and the Virtus Pro game next week.
Yeah, I'm actually so excited for the match that they have versus the Ultimates tomorrow, because I think if they're able to play as confidently as they did in this match, so the Ultimates might have a little bit of trouble. I do think that they have some really great players on this team, and they might be able to go toe-to-toe with some of the best in EMEA.
They really very well might be. I think it's going to come down to map picks and also the bans, of course, which will be very important, because I feel like it's pretty clear what heroes Qadsiah are excelling at. So the big question is, can you push them out of that comfort zone? Sakura obviously not able to do that.
Yeah, not yet. I mean, I think this is going to be the end of the road for Sakura now. It's sad to say they didn't end up picking up a series. There's still only 3 maps to their name as well, but I do have confidence in the team if they do end up sticking together, making it through that relegation and pushing on to stage 2. Of course, yet to be seen. This does happen from stage to stage. In general, teams do end up like splintering off. Maybe the core stays. Maybe they all just find homes in other teams. Yet to be seen, of course. But yeah, I think they can hold their heads high, especially in that first week, going to a map number 5 versus Vision, and even taking a map off the Ultimates as well.
And they all still have like star qualities about them as individual players. I just think that there's maybe something that got a little bit miscommunicated in the team. Maybe they just needed a couple more weeks to really start to figure out their synergies. But all the while, I think all of these other teams have really started to work together, and so everybody else is leveling up in the process. But yeah, I mean, Zoro, China, Hattori, Protostrebor, all of them have some really great qualities about them. They just might need to find out a different team or something that's really going to make them shine.
I mean, it's also you have to talk about what they were diving into here, right? Like at no point in time was the meta settled. Everything was new. You have a new team, new players. If you don't have the veterans on your team who have been through like severe meta shifts or just situations where you do need people on the bench who like chime in. You do need people who can like really put in the effort, the groundwork, the legwork to figure out how to approach different series, because not all of our teams have coaches and people on the payroll who can actually provide this extra information, which is going such a long way in order to help players succeed. Speaking of players succeeding though, Lapta, sharp shooting man, that guy hitting heads left and right. If you have Lapta on the team, you don't need a coach. I'm kidding. You need a coach. But Labda pretty good.
Yeah, Sojin looks great, honestly, for Labda. I'm excited to see how they end up doing in this Virtus Pro game. I think the Ultimates game is going to be a pretty damn good one, considering how Ultimate's been playing recently. I think this team is set up for a nice little banger series. Of course, that is tomorrow too, so that's the first game to kick us off. So that's going to be a fun one. In fact, tomorrow is going to be a good day in general. Peps versus VP should be quite interesting. VP come off of a win versus Sakura, but Labda, yeah, big star for Qadsiah, and I'm glad they have a Sojin player here as well, because that means Checkmate can play Genji, can play Tracer, can play Torb, can play pretty much anything. So yeah, flexibility is looking great for Labda moving forward as well.
Play Torb.
Yeah, it's good. Looks clean.
Looks clean. So you now say it like you mean it.